Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. I'm actually all alone today, but with lots of exciting athletics moments to review from the past fortnight. Let's start right away with the Diamond League. So on 19 May, the meeting Mohamed VI d'Athlétisme took place in Marrakech, changed temporarily from the traditional venue in Rabat, which is undergoing renovation. Performances were not quite at the level of past editions, but we must remember that we were in mid-May and many athletes are focusing on preparing the main event of the year, the Olympic Games in Paris in August. One world lead was set in Marrakech in the women's 800 meters by South Africa's surprise winner, Prudence Sekgodiso, in 1:57.26. And her expression of astonished joy is a pleasure to behold. Another notable winner was Serbia's still 18-year-old Angelina Topic, taking her second consecutive Diamond League victory and improving her personal best to 1:98. Ethiopia's army of talented female under-20 runners also shone in Marrakech, as we will see when reviewing top performances for their age category. The top mark of the meeting, however, came from the men, in particular Lithuania's discus thrower Nicolas Alekna, who won another high-level competition, dominating with a throw of 70 meters 70. Now, home fans were hoping to end the evening with local fireworks, as their Olympic champion and double world champion, Soufiane El Bakkali's race, the 3,000-meter steeplechase, was scheduled at the end of the program. El Bakkali, whose participation was in doubt due to a persistent knee injury, was able to recover and overcome the challenge from Ethiopia's Getnet Wale, but his time of 8:09.40 was understandably far from the sub-8 times he had run in the last two editions of the home Diamond League meeting. And the fireworks came at the following leg of the Diamond League on 25 May, the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene. A total of 8 world leads were set there, including one world record. World leads were equally divided, 4 per gender, but the women can boast an astonishing world record. So the world leads were for Kidi Hodgkinson in the 800, Tsige Gebreselama in the 5,000, Beatrice Chebet in the 10,000, and Peruth Chemutai in the steeplechase. Among the men, it was the mile for Josh Kerr, the 10,000 meters for Daniel Matejko, the 110 hurdles for Grant Holloway, and the shot put with Joe Kovacs. So reigning world road running champion at 5 kilometers and double world cross-country champion Beatrice Chebet, who had also won minor medals on track at the World Championships, shows that she has entered a new dimension with a dominant display in the 10,000 meters, not part of the Diamond League program, but also serving as the Kenyan trials for the Paris Olympics. Now, what made that performance extra sweet for Chebet was that it was her first 10,000 meters outside Kenya, and all attention before the race, including the NBC coverage of the start, had been on Gudaf Tsegai, who had announced a world record attempt. Even the stadium announcer only first mentioned Chebet, tucked right behind the pacemakers and Tsegai after 1 kilometer. By 17 minutes into the race, Tsegai and Chebet had dropped Rengeruk and Kip Kemboi as the Kenyan continued to shadow the 5,000-meter world record holder, before kicking decisively just before the last 3 laps, immediately making a decisive break to drop Tsegay, whose facial expression had begun indicating discomfort for several laps already. Chebet, looking remarkably fresh and at ease, continued to increase her lead in a stunning display, continuing to push right to the finish line, which she crossed in a fabulous 28 minutes, 54.14. She was therefore the first woman under 29 minutes and destroyed the previous record by almost 7 seconds, and of course smashed her own PB dating back to 2020 by over 35 seconds. Really amazing, and we better all watch out for Beatrice Chebet in Paris. But the entire race was a very high level, with the next 6 athletes setting personal bests. And that really set the tone for the entire pre-classic, which saw numerous other top performances. Among the women, these included the return to top form of Olympic champion Peruth Chemutai in the 3,000, and she crossed the line in 8:55.09, ahead of world record holder Beatrice Chebet with 8:56.51. Ethiopian middle distance runner Diribe Velteji also signed a top performance at Hayward Field with 3 minutes 53.75 over the 1,500 meters in a race that saw an excellent second place for Australia's Jessica Hull, who took back the continental crown from compatriot Lyndon Hall with a time of 3:55.97. Among the women, there was another great distance race, the 5,000 meters, won by Ethiopia's Tsige Gebreselama in 14 minutes, 18:76, ahead of more titled compatriot Ejgayu Taye in 14:18.92. And in 5th place, 18-year-old Birke Hailom set the world under 20 record with 14:23.71 in another demonstration of the talent of young Ethiopian runners. Now, among the men, the best performance also came in an event which has been extremely dynamic this year, the men's shot put. World record holder Ryan Crouser has yet to compete outdoor this year, but the 2015 and 2019 world champion Joe Kovacs was there to sign the best performance of the meet, and indeed of the fortnight, with a winning last throw of 23 meters 13. He also had another throw of 23:03 and 4 other marks between 22:46 and 22:60. Really impressive. British fans were undoubtedly delighted by the victory of Josh Kerr in the Bowerman Mile over Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who was returning from injury, in 3:45.34 to 3:45.60, and by the good form also displayed by his compatriots Neil Gurley and Jake Whiteman. A final mention for the king of high hurdle, Grant Holloway, who took the win in 13:03 over the man who had won the 2 Chinese legs of the Diamond League, Daniel Roberts, with 13.13. So that's it for the fabulous Prefontaine Classic. Now, before the pre-classic, there had been the USATF Los Angeles Grand Prix on 18 May, and high-quality men's 5,000-meter race, but the standout performance came in the 400-meter hurdles by multiple global medalist Rai Benjamin, who had clocked a fabulous world lead of 46.64 including the top performance of the year by Brazil's 2022 world champion, Alisson dos Santos. And tonight in Oslo, world record holder Karsten Warholm is set to make his outdoor debut against the Brazilian in what could be a really interesting 400-meter hurdles race. Among the women, there was an excellent 1,500-meter race won by Ethiopia's Diribe Welteji in 3:55.25. But one of the most interesting performances came from the 400-meter hurdles world record holder, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, who won the 200 meters in 22:07, the second best mark of the year and a huge PB in an event she had not contested since 2018. There was also an area record in Los Angeles in the women's 5,000 meters by Venezuela's Jocelyn Brea, who destroyed her own continental mark by over 10 seconds, lowering it to 14:36.59. Over the last 3 years, Brea has taken a whopping 45 seconds off the previous area record, which had dated back to 1993. And also on American soil in another meet in Fayetteville on 23 May, there was another South American area record in the 100-meter hurdles set by Maribel Caicedo. Now, we had already spoken about Caicedo recently. The Colombian had taken the continental crown just 12 days before, and she further improved the mark to a very respectable time of 12:49, which is currently equal number 7 on the world list for the year. So that concludes our quick overview of the fortnight. And it's time now to go back and check all the best results of the last 2 weeks, starting with men's events. And we will continue to add in brackets marks that are regular, that are listed on the respected website Tilastopaia, but will not appear on the World Athletics list. The first of that is the performance in Atlanta at the City Games, into a slight headwind, 9.90 by Akani Simbine. Now, that's not yet on the World Athletics list, even though marks from last year's event were there. So we'll see what happens. In the 100 meters, there was also a very good windy 9.84 with a 2.5 tailwind for Louis Hinchcliffe in Fayetteville, which is very, very good. And in the same city, but in a different heat, Sean Maswangani, 9.89, also windy. In Atlanta on the Adidas City Games, over 150 meters, run in a straight line, Noah Lyles clocked the number 2 mark of all time, running in 14:41 behind Usain Bolt's 14:35. But that distance of 150 meters is not an official distance for World Athletics. Over the 200 meters, there was another good performance by world leader Kenny Bednarek of the US with 19.89 in Eugene, but also very good marks in Lexington at the NCAA's 19.93 for Côte d'Ivoire's Sheikna Traoré, 19.95 for Makana Kaisek Charamba, 19.95 also for Jamarian Stubbs of the USA and Wanya McCoy of the Bahamas. Over the 1500, well, we mentioned Josh Kerr's performance in the mile in Eugene, And his time in passing over 1500 was good enough to actually improve the world lead. So the splits at 1500 meters, 3:30.92 for Josh Kerr, 3:31.11 for Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and 3:31.51 for Jared Nuguse. And they went on to conclude the mile. Josh Kerr, 3:45.34, Jakob Ingebrigtsen not far behind. And as we saw, Jared Nuguse in third with Neil Gurley and Jake Whiteman in the following two positions. The 5,000 meters in Los Angeles on 17 May was a very high quality race with 12:51.60 for Selemon Barega, but also very good times for Berihu Aregawi, Joshua Cheptegei, Jacob Kiplimo, and Grant Fisher, as well as 18-year-old Binyam Mehari, who clocked 12:54.10. And there were other performances below 12 minutes 55. Over the 10,000 meters in Eugene, also serving as the Kenya trials for Paris, excellent 26 minutes 50.81 for Daniel Matejko. Not far behind in second place, Nicolas Kipkorir, 26:50.94. A little bit further behind, Bernard Kibet and Edwin Kurgat, but also Benson Kiplagat with a very good time. The hurdles we mentioned, 13:03 for Grant Holloway, and he had already run 13:07 at the City Games in Atlanta. Rai Benjamin, we mentioned his fabulous 46.64. Behind him in Los Angeles, World Under 20 record holder, Jamaica's Roshan Clark clocked 48:11, while in Fayetteville, Caleb Dean of the US, 48:05. In the pole vault, in Ostrava on 28 May, Mondo Duplantis was back over 6 meters. In the triple jump in Castellón on Spain on 22 May, Jordan Alejandro Diaz Fortuna, former Cuban now competing for Spain, jumped to the second mark of the year with 17 meters 55. Now, we said that the shot put has been really exciting event this year. So far, it had been the best marks had been for Leonardo Fabri with 22:95 and 22:91. But that changed first in Los Angeles, where Joe Kovacs threw his implement to 22:93. And then, of course, in Eugene, with two throws over 23 meters, the best being 23 meters 13. So really excellent. This is going to be a very, very good event. Peyton Otterdal has also had some very high quality throws, 22:16 in Eugene. In Ostrava, Jordan Geis, 22:09. And third place in Eugene for Chukwu Ebuka Enekwechi of Nigeria with 21 meters 91. In the discus, we mentioned the third competition over 70 meters for Nicolas Alekna in Marrakesh. Hammer throw continues to be dominated by Ethan Katzberg with another throw over 81 meters, 81.98 in Bergen in Norway. Now the decathlon this last weekend saw the top combined events meet in Götzis in Austria, and Canada's Damien Warner climbed to number 3 in the 2024 lists with 8,678 points. The 20 kilometers race walk saw an excellent competition in A Coruña in the race walk tour gold with Toshikazu Yamanishi clocking the best performance of 1:17:47. Alvaro Martin, the double world champion, right behind with 1:17:49. Caio Bonfim of Brazil, 3 seconds behind, and Ecuador's Brian Daniel Pintado in 1:17:54. So, and more performances for Koki Ikeda and Jun Zhang of China. So a very, very high level competition in A Coruña. Top performances of 2024 remain the fabulous world records by Mondo Duplantis, 6:24 in pole vault, and Mikolas Alekna, 74 meters 35, which are worth over 1,333 points for Mondo and 1,325 for Alekna. So let's check now the best women's marks of the last 2 weeks. And Sha'Carri Richardson had been rather quiet for the moment, but in Eugene, she won the race in 10:83. That's not the number one spot this year. That is still Dacia Sears with 10:77, but Sha'Carri's 10:83 is a very good performance. Over 200, we mentioned Sydney McLaughlin Levroni with the second mark of the year. Over 800 meters, very good race by Britain's Keely Hodgkinson in Eugene, taking sweet revenge over Kenya's Mary Mora, 1:55.78 to 1:56.71. So that bodes well for Hodgkinson in the upcoming Europeans. Over 1,500, we mentioned Diribe Belteji. She's had some great performances both in Los Angeles and 3:55.25 and in Eugene at Pre-Classic with 3:53.75. Also very good performances by Frewenyi Hailu, Jessica Hull, Elle St. Pierre, and Laura Muir. 5,000 meters in Eugene was also an amazing race, won by Tsige Gebreselama in 4:18.76, ahead of Ejegayo Taye, Frewenyi Hailu, Ainadis Mebratu, and 18-year-old Birke Hailom, who, as we saw, set the world under-20 record. And then, of course, the fabulous 10,000 meters race, Beatrice Chebet, first lady under 29 minutes, with a fabulous 28:54 for 14, which is the best performance of the fortnight, worth 1,309 points. And Gudaf Segai, who was hoping to be the one to set the world record, had to settle for second place, but she moves to number 2 in the all-time list, and with a big improvement to her personal best. Personal best, as we said, for the next 6 ladies after Chebet. So for Lilian Kasai Terengeruk, for Margaret Chelimo Kipkenboy, for Janet Chepengetich, Immaculate Anyango Achol, and Catherine Raylene Amangole. 3,000 meter steeplechase, we mentioned the return of Uganda's Peruth Chemutai, who moves to number 6 in the all-time lists with her time of 8:55.09, ahead of world champion Beatrice Chepkoech, and a little slower, over 9 minutes, Faith Cherotich, also of Kenya. In the long jump, Tara Davis Hall has been the only one to go over 7 meters this year. She did it twice indoor in Fayetteville and Albuquerque, and in Atlanta in the Adidas City Games, she leapt to 7 meters 0.17. So that's very consistent performances by Tara Davis-Woodhull. And we had mentioned Götze's combined events meeting when talking about the men, and the women also improved the world lead. So actually it's a world lead for Anouk Vetter. It was the third place this year for Damian Warner. So Anouk Vetter with 6,642 points moves to top the seasonal lists in the heptathlon. So top women's performance of 2024, in spite of Beatrice Chebet's 10,000 meters world record, remains the incredible record set over the same distance, but on the roads in the 10K by Agnes Ngetic back in mid-January. So let's take a look now at under 20 and under 18 athletes. There were also some very good performances registered there over the last fortnight, especially with the under 20. So we had spoken already about Samuel Ogazi of Nigeria at 400 meters. We had mentioned him in the team for the relays in the Bahamas, and in Gainesfield on 11 May, he had improved to 44.58. Well, he shaved a few more hundreds off that mark, and now is alone in sixth position in the all-time lists for the under 20s with 44.53. Another athlete who we had already mentioned earlier this year is Australia's Cameron Myers, who made a big improvement on his performance in the mine February, and in Eugene, he clocked 3:51.5, moving into number 5 in the under 20. Mehari, over 5,000, we had mentioned. In Los Angeles, he clocked 12:54.10 to move to number 10 in the under 20 all-time lists. Another athlete we had previously mentioned is Jacob Tharp in the 110 hurdles. So his best remains 13:18, which is an area under 20 record. But in Lexington, he equaled the mark of 13:24, which he had already set in Gainesfield on 10 May. So 2 weeks later, he equaled his own number 3 mark of all time. And then there's a mark in the 4x100 meter relay from the team of Humble Atascoita of the US. Don't ask me where the club is from. I honestly don't know. But they clocked an excellent 39.14, which moves them to number 9 in the under 20 all-time list. And that was on 5 May in Austin, Texas, but I'd missed it in the last program. Among the women, there were also some familiar names, and over the 200 meters, we are speaking again about Jamisha Ford, who clocked 22:28 in Lexington on 25 May. That's her third best time this season, but it's well in the top 10 of her age category. And another athlete we had already mentioned is Britain's Phoebe Gill. So on 11 May, she had clocked 1:57.86 in Belfast, which made her number 2 on the under 18 all-time list and equal number 12 on the under 20 all-time list. Well, she ran very close to that mark in Manchester on 25 May with 1:58.07, which is the number 3 mark on the under 18 all-time lists. behind only her previous best, which we've already mentioned, and China's Wan Zhuang from 1993. Over 5,000, we've already mentioned Birke Hailom's World Under 20 record set in Eugene. But there were some very good performances, we have said, in Marrakesh by young Ethiopian distance runners, the best being Medina Asa with 14:34.16. That is the number 7 mark of all time, but Medina also has the very best one, and the number 2 and number 6, the last one being recorded this year. Also in Marrakesh, Senayet Getachew, 14:37.38, moves to number 8 in the under 20 all-time list. 14:39.79, always in Marrakesh, for Melknat Wudu. Over 3,000 meter steeplechase in Eugene. Very good 9:07.26 for Sembo Almayu. And in the high jump, we had mentioned victory in Marrakesh, second Diamond League victory for Angelina Topic with 1:98, and she moves to equal number 7 in the under 20 all-time list. And to conclude the under 20 performances, twins Hannah and Amanda Moll in the pole vault had been rather quiet this year, but they were shining in Boulder on 12 May with 4:58 for Hannah and 4:53 for Amanda. And there was also an excellent performance in the discus throw from China's Zhichao Jiang, who in Neubrandenburg on 22 May threw an excellent 64 meters 49 in the discus, moving to number 11 in the under 20 all-time list, and beating on that occasion some of the top senior German throwers. So definitely an athlete to look out for. Another athlete, another Chinese thrower to look out for is China's Zhiyi Yan. We had already mentioned her fabulous 64.28 back in April. She has 2 more excellent performances, 62.23, 61.83. And on 14 May in Qingdao, she threw 61 meters 40. So another really very consistent, very strong athlete. And remember, she's only 15. She's born in 2008. Maybe she just turned 16 because she's born in May. So let's have a look now at the under 18 mark. There was not as much action for this age category. So there were 2 performances, one over 3,000 meters steeplechase by Edmond Serem at the African Championships in Nairobi on 22 May. And he moves to equal number 6 in the under 18 all-time list with a mark of 8:20.05. And the other, of course, is Phoebe Gill, whom we have already mentioned among the under 20 athletes, but she's an under 18 athlete being born in 2007. So her mark of 1:58.07 is as we said, the number 3 on the under 18 all-time list, as well as the number 14 mark on the under 20 list. So that's it for our quick review of performances of the last fortnight. Let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. So tonight we have the Oslo Bislett Games Diamond League meeting on starting today and until Sunday, European Off-Road Running Championships in Annecy in France. 1st of June, Racers Grand Prix in Kingston. On the 1st to the 8th of June, Oceania Athletics Championships in Fiji, in Suva. On the 2nd, shortly after Oslo, the other Diamond League meeting in Stockholm on 2 June. Then very interesting, 5 to 8 June, the NCAA Division I Outdoor Championships in Eugene. Grenada Invitational on 6 June. And of course, from 7 to 12 June, the European Athletics Championships in Roma in Italy. On 9 June, so immediately after the NCAAs, the New York USATF New York Grand Prix on 9 June. The Kenyan Championships and Olympic Trials take place on 14 to 15 June in Nairobi. Then World Athletics Continental Tour meeting, the first one after the Europeans, on 18 June in Turku, Paavo Nurmi Games. And then two big events at the end of June, the African Championships in Douala, Cameroon, from 21st to the 26th of June, and the US Championships and Trials in Eugene from 21 to 30 June. So Continental Championships, trials for Olympic Games. The next 4 or 5 weeks are going to be really, really special. So we're now at the end of our program. It was great to see the athletics season really heating up over the last fortnight. And the Diamond League meetings, as we said, in Oslo tonight and Stockholm on Sunday, could provide more fireworks. So we'll be back to a weekly schedule for a while now, and we'll next record on Friday, 7 June, right at the start of the European Championships in Rome. And from Rome, we'll bring you interviews with the top continental athletes. So thank you for watching, and see you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis, and of course the interviews, and see what's been happening in our sport over the past 7 days. Thank you. Bye-bye.